Now, what year was it you came to live in Springholm, Jackie?
It was in October 1975.
And what was it like then?
Well, of course, like a lot of things, more traffic now. It was busy at that time, but it's got worse over the years, of course.
And more lorries.
Yes, there are more lorries, some of these, whole lot perhaps all come over at once off the ferry.
Yes.
And you get perhaps 14, 15, 16 more, all just going past, one after the other.
Quite scary, isn't it?
Well, it can be, yes.
And I see your house is called Viewfield, but
yes.
Did you manage to see the fields in those days?
We did. When we first came, it was lovely to look out, and sometimes they used to keep cows, and the big cows looking over the gate. That really was nice. But once the houses started being built in 1975, well...
That was not 1975.
No, 1995, that's
yeah.
right. Yes, in 1995, well, of course, the view's gone and it's completely different now.
Yes. They're quite nice houses, but they're not the same as looking at cows.
No.
And in those days there were two shops, weren't there?
There were, yes. There was a very good shop, the mini market, and it sold a lot of things, even knitting wool. And then the other shop, until 1970, I think it was a post office as well, but under, things, they just decided to give up being that way.
Yes, but you've still got the one shop.
Yes, we have still one shop. It's just known as the shop now. Yeah.
Hey Mona, tell me about your school days during the war.
Oh well, the school days during the war were really bigger classes because we had the evacuees that had come from, well, the big cities like Glasgow and Edinburgh and Stirling, any of these sort of larger cities, we had evacuees. And so the village school took them in, and that enlarged our classes quite noticeable really at the time. So it eventually, as the war years wore away, we more or less, some of them went back home to their cities. Some of them stayed and remained in the village, really, grew up and are still there, or their descendants are still there now.
You married one of the evacuees,
oh, yes,
didn't you?
I did. I married an evacuee from Glasgow who came out to be, lived about 4 fields away from us in a little croft, and we met sort of coming up the road on our bikes from the school, and that friendship just grew and grew. He went away back to Glasgow after they were all taken back home after the war, and he became a marine engineer. So then he still came back to visit the landlady and the family that he was evacuated to, and he just loved the place. He hated sort of going back to Glasgow, where of course his parents worked and lived.
And what other differences did it make to schooling? Were you, I suppose there was rationing on?
Oh well, yes, the rationing, but again, us living in the country, we were fortunate because we had ground and we grew vegetables and potatoes and...
had hens, I suppose?
Yes, and we had hens and could always, mother seemed to be able to rummel up a meal practically from nothing between eggs and milk and flour and oatmeal, and the country folks, just seemed to learn to... There was no shops to run to every day round the corner when you lived 3 miles away from the village as we did.
Do you remember, was there school dinners in your day?
No, when I first started in the primary, there was just a soup kitchen, and we used to take a halfpenny or a jam jar, and we got a bowl of soup and a hot cup of tea.
I gather that when you got a bit older, you became the school cook at Cahardgate Primary. What were you cooking?
Just plain food like your mince and potatoes and your soup and your puddings. And you didn't get a choice. You had either to take it or do without. It was like your steaks and things. And then latter years we got, before I retired, you got a choice of menu, which they brought in your couscous, your lamb and couscous, or your pizzas, or your chicken tequillas.
Yeah. Now, you used to go to the hall quite a lot, didn't you, Rodden?
Aye.
What sort of things did they have in the hall?
Well, when I first came here, they had a dance every Saturday night, and the families, all the families went, and it was from 8 o'clock to 11:30. The late Mr. Ewart, he organised that, and after that they faded away, but they still had quite a few dances, and there was one dance in particular, I think it was Tommy Trousdale that was there, and the floor was actually shaking. He thought the walls were coming in. And as I say, if he went to a West Drive or a concert in the hall, he certainly made sure he wasn't sitting down to the door next to the road, because the drafts were coming. Goods, the boards were dried out, and the drafts were coming in through there. Latterly, both my wife and I were in the hall committee, and a fella and I, we painted the old hall.
Yeah.
So it was a great relief when actually the bulletin boards leant against the side of the hall, and we had to the joiner and to put a buttress against the wall where the bulletin boards were, for they were falling out the way.
Yeah.
But after that, we got the new hall, so that solved a lot of our problems.
It's a lovely new hall, isn't it?
Aye, aye, aye.